Hey friends, welcome back to Stones Hill Homestead. This is Kim if you're new, and I just want to welcome you to the collaboration of Souping with Friends that is hosted by Modern Homestead Alaska, Jessica, and Flat Tire Farm Homestead Alaska, Chrystal. We want to thank them for having this open collaboration of soups for the month of November. So first, I am starting with making some chicken bone broth. I need chicken broth for this recipe that I'm making. I had a leftover rotisserie chicken carcass in the freezer, and I didn't want it to go to waste, so I added some vegetable scraps that I had in the freezer also, and here it is. It's been cooking for about 20 hours now, and I'm getting ready to strain that. And I will let that cool so I can skim off the fat for the soup I'm making. But you don't need to do that. It's not going to be that much for this one batch. So here I am going to start chopping up vegetables. As you can see, I have some potatoes, carrots, and onions right here. The chicken broth is already made. So we're going to get started with these potatoes. Now this soup is very easy to make. It is one of our favorites, our family favorites. It started with my sister-in-law who had the recipe, shared it with my dad, and it has just developed over the years. We are making this for my son's 35th birthday that is coming up, and we're going to be celebrating it on this day. I do make everything the morning of the dinner. However, it can easily be made the day before and just reheated if you want to. And I am cutting up right now. I'm dicing up potatoes, and we're just going to throw all of these in the pot and get them nice and cut up to bite-sized pieces. This recipe is quite flavorful. It can be changed very easily. My sister-in-law, she puts mushrooms in it. I don't. I'm not a mushroom person. I don't care for mushrooms, so it's very easy to leave something out that you don't like or add something in that you do. And as I continue to cut up the potatoes, in the background, I am also working on some sweet spicy sausage, as well as I've baked 2 pies, which you will see in another video. And now the potatoes are just about done here. Finishing up those, and then I will start on the onions. These potatoes are not from my garden this year. I had a problem with voles, and we did not get hardly any potatoes because those little critters decided that they wanted my potatoes. As we were cleaning up the garden, we tipped over one of our flower pots, and we discovered that I would have had a very nice harvest of red potatoes had they not taken all the small ones to store for winter. So we had to work on getting that cleaned up, and hopefully next year we have prepared that we will not have voles. So here you see me cutting up onions. Again, I don't do well at onions in the garden, so these are also store-bought onions. I'm just dicing them up into nice bite-sized pieces. You can chop them up finer if you want. It does not matter. Once you add everything to it, they cook down so nicely, most people don't even realize they're in there. If that's an issue with them, yeah, of course, you just don't want to use them if people are allergic to them. And did you know, just a little tidbit, don't know if this is true or not, But if you have an allergy to penicillin, you will not tolerate onions well. So now here I am working on carrots. I started by shredding them with the grater, and I soon figured out I did not like that. So I put the shredded carrots into the pot, and I just decided I'm just going to make these and cut these up into little diced or small coins, carrot coins. And that seemed to work best. They cook down well, just like the potatoes. And I quickly go through these and get them all added to the pot. I'm not, like I said, I'm not worried about mixing it up. I'm just throwing it all in to get this all started and getting this soup on the stove for cooking. You can also do this in a crock pot, or you can do it over a fire outside. My dad always did this over the open fire when we went camping or up to the cabin, and it works beautifully outside as well. And here I am messing with this carrot, not cutting it right. It was too big, so I had to split it in half. I am not a professional by any means with the knife or with cooking in general, but I do love to cook. And most of my recipes, everybody loves. So, at least in my family. So we just continue to put this stuff together. And I've got a squirrel moment, and I'm just rambling as you see. And now I've finished up the carrots, and I'm moving on to the cabbage. This is a nice head of cabbage, again, from the store. It is too late in my garden to get anything else. We've had our first frost, first freeze. We've actually had snow on the ground here in northern Indiana, up near South Bend. If any of you know the area in northern Indiana near Notre Dame, they had 3 inches of snow just last Tuesday evening. And that was not really surprising for northern Indiana because our weather can switch pretty quick. But we did have snow, so my garden is pretty well done. I still have potatoes that I still need to pull out that we had as a late crop, but I'm pretty sure we will not get any out of those either, as those voles that I previously talked about were in the garden. So here I am going to quarter this cabbage, and I'm just quartering it just so it's for easier cutting. I just want to make nice shreds, and I'm getting that all shredded up for this soup, and I will use this whole head plus a partial of another small head of cabbage so that I have enough for all of us. This will provide not only the full meal, but I will have enough left over of this for my lunch this week, as well as for lunch tomorrow. So that works out really nice. And now everything is chopped up, including the other half of a cabbage. It's all in the pot, and we are going to move this to the stove. We're on the stove now, and you can see that Dutch apple pie to the left that I've already made for the birthday dinner. And I am adding the chicken stock that I drained from that rotisserie chicken carcass. And as I do that, I am going to now cut up all the smoked sausage for this recipe. I am cutting it in half and then making half coins for all of the sausage. There is 3 pounds of sausage here. It is Eckrich smoked sausage, and we used in this soup today, we used the Eckrich smoked sausage with cheddar. You can use regular. You can use whatever smoked sausage you like that you can get in your area. It doesn't really matter. This is just what we have in our area, and we like it. It's really good, and it's easy and quick for this soup. It's a quick recipe. There is no special ingredients as far as I'm concerned. So it's really a nice, hearty, filling soup for everyone. I continue to cut up all of this, and then we will add all of this to the stock pot that's already on the stove. And here you see that everything is now chopped up, and we're headed to the pot, and we're just going to put all of that in, and I'm going to bring this to a boil. And it's actually a low boil, a simmer almost, if you will, because most everything by this time is heated. Now we need to just finish cooking those potatoes down, and we are going to just let everything meld together for the soup, and we're just going to let it cook until everything is ready. And now we're moving over to the next recipe, which is sweet spicy sausage. This is my dad's recipe, and we have over the years just absolutely loved this. It is an easy recipe to make, and it is even better the next day after it has sat. So here you see me starting with open pit barbecue sauce. This recipe is quite large. You can cut it in half, and I actually did for this recipe, cut this sauce in half, and I used 3 bottles of open pit original barbecue sauce. And now I'm adding 2 tablespoons of Who's Your Sister sauce. I can't say it, so I'm not even going to try. But you're adding that. The next is 1 can of beer. This is totally optional. This is from the original recipe. We do add 1 can of beer. And just going to pour that in. It doesn't matter brand. Just do whatever you have, or you can completely eliminate it. Louisiana Hot Sauce is next. I added 2 tablespoons. I wished I would have doubled that. I wished I would have added 4 tablespoons. We like our sausage just a bit more spicier. So take that into consideration when you're making this recipe. The next piece you see me adding is brown sugar. It calls for dark brown sugar, and you all know I make my own brown sugar, so I can add more molasses if I need to. Didn't do that to this, but I added 2 cups of dark brown sugar. We thought it was a little bit sweet, so I will back off on that for the next time. And of course, I will include this recipe down in the description for you, but it will be the full recipe. And now we're adding my organic raw honey that I got from the store. I have many kinds of raw honey. This just happens to be the easiest to grab on this one because I'm just going to squeeze it out. I need 6 ounces of this honey. And it is just about there. And we're going to mix that together, bring it over to the stove. We're going to get that nice and stirred, and we're going to start heating that up. While that is heating up, I am going to cut up the 6 pounds of Eckrich smoked sausage. Again, you can use any kind you want, skinless smoked sausage with the natural casing. It is totally up to you. Eckrich is what is sold in our area, so that is what I use. But it is 6 pounds of smoked sausage. You're going to cut the sausage in 2 to 3 inch pieces, and you're going to keep those whole at that point. You don't want to cut them in half or anything, just 2 to 3 inch pieces of that sausage. On the right, you still see I am still cooking down the cabbage stew, getting that all heated, and it is covered. And here I am adding those cut up pieces of sausage. This is the first part of those sausages of the 6 pounds. I'm cutting them up and getting them put in there. And then I will add the second batch of those to total 6 pounds of the smoked sausage. I'm going to give those a nice stir, get them all coated well. And here I come in with the second batch. And you can see on these, they are all about 3-inch pieces or 3-inch chunks. I'm going to give them another nice stir, get those coated. We will bring that pot to a low boil for 20 to 30 minutes. And you want to cook them until the sausage starts to break open. You don't have to, but that's your indication that these sausages are done and we need to get them out of the sauce. If you don't get them out of the sauce and you leave them soak in that sausage gets very mushy. It's not pleasing. I don't like the texture when it gets mushy. It almost feels, I don't know how to say it. It's just, it doesn't feel good. The sausage is mushy. You want to have a nice snap to that skin without that inside of that sausage cooking like that. Here you see me stirring the cabbage stew, getting all those ingredients mixed together. And it's really doing nicely. We need to check the potatoes. I do add some pepper at some point in this, and then we will be ready to head to my son's house for his 35th birthday. I'm doing all the cooking at the house, and it's just easier for me to do that, travel with the food, and then take it to their homes for all of us to have a sit down and eat. We end up doing snacking around the grill, though, as he grills up the sausage. And here you see me dipping up those sausages. We're getting them out of that sauce. We do not want them to soak any longer in that. It's been about 30 minutes. They have came to a boil. They're cooking nicely, and we're just going to pull them out of that sauce. Once they are out of the sauce, we will put them in this stock pot that you see, and I'm going to throw them in the fridge. I want them to get cold in there. It says to refrigerate until they're cold. We want that glaze to set on those sausages so it's coated nicely, it's sticky, so when we put them on the grill, you can see they're nice and glossy. And here I am, finished dishing those out. And just checking that cabbage stew again. And this is where I'm adding the pepper. And now we are at my son's house. He takes a sausage, he dips it in that reserve sauce, and he is putting it on his smoker grill. And he will grill each piece until it has a nice lined black mark from the grill. That is where all that flavor comes through. And he is just finishing these up right here. And once they are all done, we will eat. Here they are on the grill, and you can see how that couple pieces are starting to get those nice black marks. We just want to thank you for joining us today. We appreciate each and every one of you. And happy birthday, Josh, for your 35th birthday. As always, be blessed and laugh as much as you breathe. Have a great day, everyone.